Hi, and welcome to Investigation 17B and 17B2. This is World War I research. In 17B, we're going to explore the causes of World War I. And then we're going to move on to 17B2. We're going to explore life in a trench, experiencing life in a trench with the new technological developments of World War I. Let's take a look. What caused World War I? Well, some people say high school never ends. And they say that because people in high school, teenagers, experience drama in one way or another, and when high school ends, the drama does not end. The drama always continues. So let's take a look at a typical situation in high school, possibly typical situation in high school, in which there's dramatic conflict, and let's try to apply that to the causes of World War I. So, Gary's a new kid in school. He's very proud, and he's been trying to get as many friends as he can. Partly to have friends, but also so he has someone to help him out if he gets into a fight, which he often does. So Gary's new to high school. He's a senior. He's looking for friends, and he wants friends to support him in a friend way, but also in a physical way if he gets into a physical altercation, a fight, which it states he often does. So Gary's also taking steroids, and he's been lifting weights in the gym every day. So Gary seems to be jacked. He's this huge muscular kid, and he's aggressive because he's on steroids, and he's looking for friends to have his back in case he gets into a physical conflict. So Gary's looking for an alliance. So Gary's closest friends that he made are Adrian and Ian, and he has their back, and they also have his back. Frank, on the other hand, has been in high school for all 4 years, and he's a senior. Frank is a guy in school that has been there for years. He's popular, well known throughout the school. Everybody loves Frank. Frank's on the football team, so he's just as strong as Gary, but he isn't on steroids, so he's not as aggressive. So Frank is close friends with Russell, Sebastian, and Gabe. They've always had Frank's back through the years, and he has an alliance, friendship alliance with them as well. So what's the drama? Well, Gary, the new kid, the senior on steroids, he's trying out for the football team. He wants Frank's position as quarterback. Now, Frank has been quarterback for years, since middle school, and Frank has held that position. So although they don't show it, both Gary and Frank want each other out of the school. Frank has been quarterback for so long, he feels threatened by Gary, and he knows Gary's on steroids. He knows Gary's aggressive. He wants him out. Gary wants to take Frank's position, is willing to do anything to become the quarterback senior year of this football team in this high school. So what are both doing? Both are spreading rumors about one or the other. So to hurt each other socially, Frank is trying to become friends with Gary's friends, and Gary's doing the same. So one day after practice, Adrian Hartford, one of Gary's friends, made fun of one of Frank's friends, Sebastian. So Sebastian, being a very proud person for his family, he took a swing at Adrian Hartford and gave him a bloody nose. Now, what do you think would happen between Gary and Frank due to their friends that they have alliances with getting into a physical altercation? You guessed it, eventually they're going to get in a fight as well. And ultimately, all 7 of these high school students would get into a rumble of some sorts. And that is what's equatable to the causes of World War I at its most simplistic explanation. So take a minute and prove you understand the story, and answer these 3 questions by filling out the grid. And then we're going to move on to the next step. Looking at the next step, what was the cause for what was World War I? We watched this video in the introduction image analysis. You can watch it again. And then you're going to answer the questions: what was World War I? Where did it take place? Who were the countries involved? Moving on, we can see the World War I alliances. These are the countries that had each other's back. So just as in the high school drama, because of the effects of the Industrial Revolution, Britain, France, Germany, parts of Austria-Hungary, parts of Russia, Italy, they began to industrialize, build factories inside of their country. And the countries that had the most factories, had the highest level of industrialization, had the strongest economy, money, power, and respect. The more your country's industrialized, the more money, power, and respect you would have on the global stage on planet Earth. So Britain, France, Germany were the superpowers of planet Earth because they had the strongest form of industrialization, strong economies, followed by Russia, Austria, Hungary, and Italy were running to catch up. And this caused rivalries. And the rivalries caused these countries to become suspicious of each other. These countries militarized and used the Industrial Revolution to build military weapons in their factories. And this projected strength. This projected more competition, rivalries, resentment. And what you have is a story where this little country, this little red country in the bottom called Serbia, and their conflict between Austria-Hungary was the spark that caused World War I. So in red, you can see the alliances, Britain, France, and Russia, along with Serbia in red. And the other alliances were Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Italy in the bright green. Now, as you move down, there's an acronym. If you look on the left, MANIA, the mania of World War I. So you can further describe the historical developments that caused World War I by filling out the mania grid. M is for militarism. What's militarism and how did it cause World War I? A is for alliances. What is an alliance? How did it help cause World War I? N is nationalism. And what is nationalism? How did it contribute to World War I? I is for imperialism and A is for the assassination. How do I fill the grid out, Mr. D? For each section, you have the historical development research below. Militarism, imperialism, the alliance system, nationalism, and the assassination. Okay? So you want to take the rest of this time to fill out what were the 5 causes of World War I. And when you finish, you're going to move on to investigation 17B2, in which we discuss life in the trenches. Okay, here we are in 17B2, investigation 17B2. This is about World War I warfare, life in the trenches, and the World War I technology that dictated much of the life of the soldiers in the trenches of World War I. So, how are we going to complete this investigation? Step 1, we need to look through the eyes of soldiers who were there. So, you're going to open this document up, and you're also going to open the document, the second document attached to this investigation 17B2, which are letters from the trenches of World War I. And there are about 7 letters, and you're going to choose one letter. If you're not sure which letter to choose, I highly recommend letter 6. Choose one letter, and once you've made your choice, read the letter, come back here, and what you're going to do is fill out this reflection grid, soldiers in the trenches, a World War I diary entry, and you can answer the 5 questions that reflects on a soldier's perspective, point of view, their experience in that trench during World War I. When you're finished, you're going to move on. What was war like in World War I, and how did it affect those involved? And you can see this image right here of how fast the technology changed and upgraded from the beginning of World War I to the end. And in this image on the left, the beginning of World War I, a lot of the battle was on foot or on a horse with a wooden bolt-action rifle with a bayonet spear attached to it. Primitive fighting that existed for thousands of years before. By the end of the war, 4 years later, tanks, machine guns, gas masks, chemical warfare, airplanes, submarines. The technology of World War I advanced and dramatically influenced the lives of the soldiers involved, as well as people outside of the trenches. So, we have these 4 sections: industrialization, total war, technological developments, and trench warfare. In order to answer these questions, you're going to move to the historical development documents. And you have industrialization, you have total war, you have the technological developments, and you have trench warfare. These documents are going to help you answer these questions in order to truly understand World War I warfare through the eyes of the soldiers in the trenches, as well as the secondary historical documentation that helps you better understand how technology affected those involved in the war, the soldiers, and people that were outside of the trenches as well. I hope this helps.